Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, also with me on the debate, Majid Hyderi, political analyst, Vakar Bhatti, political analyst, joining me tonight, and also joining us this evening is Ashwini Handa, senior Congress leader. But my first question goes to Ashoke Pandit, Kashmiri Pandit, and Indian filmmaker. Ashoke Pandit, is this the beginning of the direct benefit transfer of all the pending accounts of what the Kashmiri Hindus suffered in Kashmir over the last several years? They've been kept waiting. 32 years later, at least the wheels of justice have begun to move.
Navika, good evening. You see, any judgment apart from hanging until death is not going to suffice us or is not going to satisfy us. The reason is that the 32 years of our journey, we have seen pain, we have seen killings, we have seen murders, we have seen tortures of this man. And this man symbolizes my genocide, my ethnic cleansing, my rapes, my murders, destruction of my temples, and the entire exodus of the entire community of 4.5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits. So it's very natural that what he has done to us should be done to him also. As you heard Mrs. Khanna's statement, "Khoon ka badla khoon," and that is the voice of every heart who has suffered this man's arrogance, this man's terrorism, and this man's behavior. All those people, Navika, who supported him all through these 32 years, I also want them to be punished. All those media houses who made him an icon, who called him Gandhi, all those people who stood by him, broke his fasts by feeding him with orange juice, people like Arundhati Roy, people like Sheila Rashid, one of the guys sitting on your debate now, Mr. Majid Hyderi of this country, all the intellectuals, so-called intellectuals and so-called liberals of this country, who day in and day out tortured us more than Yasin Malik, more than terrorists. Because our next generations used to tell us, Navika, that, what have you done? You have committed a mistake by not picking up the guns. Here it is this man is a killer, this man is a rapist, this man is an anti-national, he's there out to destroy this country, and he is an icon of this country. This man is Gandhi of the country, and you being a victim of him is treated like dogs. So all the earlier governments, the regimes which have ruled this country, I want to question all those people who has given them free treatment, who took him around the world, who made him an icon, all the political parties ruling before 2014, for those 25, 26 years, all those local political parties like PDP, National Conference, Congress, Hurriyat, Communists, the urban nationals of this country, who made him a hero. Today, at least there is a ray of hope. I can tell you that when I hear something against him, till today, the entire lobby, a huge lobby of this country was out there to protect him, was out there to make him an icon, was out there to make him a Gandhi. And we as victims were asked to sit in the audience and question him. And this man with his shawl, with his gun in his pocket, was sitting on the stage and was giving lectures. Those are the days which I have seen, we all have seen. So today, apart from Yasin Malik, Navika, I want the country to pose this question to all those people who stood by him, who supported him into making him a Gandhi.
Bilkul. And Majid Hyderi, tonight, would you want to apologize to Ashoke Pandit, who carries the hurt of the last 32 years, for all his brothers and sisters who were murdered, killed, raped and driven out of their homes? Majid Hyderi, आज सिर झुका के कम से कम अदालत ने जो कहा उसके लिए सलाम करेंगे, दुआ करेंगे कि कम से कम जो लाइफ सेंटेंस हुआ है वो कभी ना कभी फांसी में भी बदले, बिकॉज खन्ना जी, निर्मला खन्ना जी चाहती हैं कि जिस तरह उनके पति को शूट कर दिया था, शायद ये इंसाफ नहीं है उसका।
जी नाविका साहिबा, बिल्कुल सलाम भी करूंगा, आदाब भी कहूंगा अशोक पंडित जी को, मेरे बड़े भाई हैं। I can realize his pain, and what I want to say is that on the topic of terror, the concern of terror, we need to be united in the same page. And we should seek strictest punishment against all the terrorists, and here is what we need to understand and incorporate.
So do you hail the verdict against Yasin Malik? Yes or no?
Navika Sahiba, intellectual debate is not about yes or no. I am only coming to this.
I don't want an intellectual debate. I want a straight answer. अब इसमें intellectualism कहाँ बाकी है? Whether Yasin Malik is a killer or not, where is the intellectual debate left on this topic? I want to ask you, 32 years there has been an ecosystem that has protected people like Yasin Malik. The first case against him was filed in 2017, my friend. Today,
definitely, madam.
Today, will you say Yasin Malik के साथ जो हुआ अच्छा हुआ, इससे ज्यादा होना चाहिए? बोलिए।
Navika Sahiba, definitely Yasin Malik has been protected by an ecosystem for the last 32 years, but this is what I want to tell you, that our NIA is being put on two medications by the saffron government. The Silajit against Islamist terror and sleeping pills against saffron terror. Now, can I ask you what happened to the Maligaon last case?
No, I will not allow. I will not allow what about those accused? I will not allow what about today. I'm talking about Pakistan terror. The fact that terror funding was happening, the fact that Yasin Malik was doing and he was a conduit of that terror funding, a fact that was known to every Kashmiri, yet he was protected. Tonight, I want to ask you: will you say जो हुआ अच्छा हुआ, भारत माता की जय? बोल दीजिए आज।
See, I respect Bharat Mata as being a deity of my Hindu religion, but I won't ever say Bharat Mata Ki Jai because it's against my religious ethic.
भारत माता की जय,
coming to this point,
भारत माता की जय बोलने में दिक्कत है आपको? भारत माता की जय बोलने में दिक्कत है आपको?
आप मेरी ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद पे खा जाएंगे, आप मेरा धर्म भी खा जाएंगे, कुतुब मीनार भी खा जाएंगे। भाई, मुझे हक देता है देश का संविधान। I have a right to live. I have a right to live with dignity, which has been guaranteed to me by the Constitution. You can lynch me on the show.
भाई साहब, ये समझ लीजिए, जितनी गलतियां हुई हैं, उनको अगर आपने दफनाने की कोशिश की है, तो हिसाब तो होगा। हिसाब होगा, खुल के होगा, और ये हिसाब डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर उनका होगा जिन्होंने सहा है। एंड आई वांट टू गेट इन डॉक्टर आनंद रंगनाथन। भारत माता की जय कहने में इनका मजहब बीच में आ जाता है। हर चीज में मजहब बीच में आ जाता है। कश्मीरी हिंदुओं को निकाला क्यों गया था? क्योंकि मजहब बीच में आ गया था। डॉक्टर आनंद रंगनाथन, इनके ना दिमाग कभी साफ थे, दिल तो क्या ही होंगे।
Good evening. Very sober note that Dr. Manmohan Singh has got blood on his hands today, because the hands that he shook belonged to Yasin Malik, and those hands were stained with the blood of Judge Ganju and squadron leader Ravi Khanna. And it is diabolical that all of us live in a state and a country where for 32 years those crimes have gone unpunished. Not only that, governments after governments have done nothing to make sure that those crimes are punished. Even the BJP gave him passport. Congress ने क्या क्या किया तो मैं आप क्या ही बताऊं, आप खुद जानती हैं. Leave alone being remorseful or being repentant for not even being punished for these cold-blooded murders. He goes and then sits with India's most wanted terrorist, Hafiz Saeed. This crime for which he is being punished today, life sentence, even though NIA had demanded a death sentence. This crime was committed in 2017, so I must commend this government for at least pursuing this. But what happened to those cold-blooded murders that happened 32 years ago? What happened to his hand in the kidnapping of Rubaiya Saeed that actually started this whole intifada, if you can call it that the Kashmiris call it, and all this terrorism in Kashmir? And for a terrorist to go unpunished for 32 years and become an apostle of peace, to hoodwink this government,
what about
the past government, all its intellectuals. Majid Hyderi, I purposely did not interrupt you because you are
His hands also have the blood on his hands. Ashoke Pandit also has the blood on his hands. They released Azhar Masood with all dignity and honor, saying, "My baap, aap jao, aapke liye desh hazir hai." You enlighten the nation on that also.
Majid Hyderi, I will enlighten.
Navika, you know,
Masood Azhar was left because Indians needed to be saved. And 200 of them, almost 200 of them.
Maybe Manmohan Singh wanted the safety of India. That is why you should
आप ज्ञान मत दीजिए और इस देश को mislead मत कीजिए. Nobody in this country is going to believe you anymore, Majid Hyderi. Allow Dr. Anand Ranganathan to complete his point. Do not try to sidetrack the entire issue, the truth of which is known to this country. You can't hoodwink this ecosystem that exists today. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, please carry on.
Yes, I hope I won't be interrupted. It's a very serious topic. I did not interrupt Mr. Majid Hyderi. I know he doesn't have brain, but I'm surprised he doesn't have ears as well. In my first sentence itself, while I castigated Dr. Manmohan Singh, I also said that BJP gave him a passport, which was the fact in 2001, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So, आप सुनिया करिए ढंग से. और number 2, as far as Yasin Malik is concerned, did I not say that his crimes have gone unpunished for 32 years? Now let me ask you, God forbid or Darwin forbid, if my father or your father Majid Hyderi was killed in cold blood by a terrorist, would you not be screaming for justice? Would you be fine for saying that yes, all right, he is now saying that he's an apostle of peace, he's not repented? Would you be fine? I ask you this. No, you would not be fine, Majid Hyderi, even though you say that you do not believe in the Supreme Court and the Constitution of India. On October 14, 2017, you said Sharia is above Supreme Court. I know your history, लेकिन अभी हम उसमें नहीं जाना चाहते. We are talking of a terrorist, Yasin Malik. So I say this again, Navika, this country was perhaps a banana republic the moment it became a republic. How can we stand and laugh or do whatever in a state where a man admits on BBC Hard Talk again with Tim Sebastian, Yasin Malik admitted twice that yes, JKLF murdered Judge Ganju for convicting Maqbool Bhatt, and yes, JKLF killed squadron leader Ravi Khanna and 3 other IAF personnel. He admitted these 2 crimes, and still he was free. He's an apostle of peace. ये देश है या मजाक है? So Majid Hyderi, please keep your innuendos and whatever selective bashing to yourself. I'm in no mood today. I want justice, and I want justice for my brothers like Ashoke Pandit and 5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits who were driven out by people like Yasin Malik.
I want to get in Ashwini Handa. Ashwini Handa ji, सीधा सवाल, 5 लाख कश्मीर हिंदुओं का खून हो जिसके हाथ पर, उसके खिलाफ कोई केस नहीं. ये मेरे हाथ में RTI है. RTI filed in 2007, RTI filed in 2013, in which questions are asked. And may I just read out these questions? The questions that are asked are, what are the reasons that the court stated for release of Yasin Malik? If it was lack of evidence, what further progress has the state made on collecting fresh evidence and witnesses in the various cases pending against him? Sorry. You know the response, to this, 1 minute, जवाब जो यूपीए की सरकार ने दिया था 2007 में, कहा no specific information regarding the case to which the applicant has referred to has been mentioned, so no information is possible and the applicant may approach the court directly. Also उन्होंने कहा कि कोई evidence शुरू नहीं हुआ है रिकॉर्ड करना यासिन मलिक के खिलाफ, बल्कि यासिन मलिक के खिलाफ कोई केस तो है ही नहीं. ये 2007 में, 2010 में, 2013 में कोई केस ही नहीं है, अश्विनी हांडा जी. और कोई केस नहीं था, इसीलिए तो मिल रहे थे गले यासिन मलिक से डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह और कह रहे थे आइए बैठिए, मेन स्ट्रीम में हिस्सा लीजिए और आइए हम आपके लिए कमेटी बनाते हैं हामिद अंसारी जी के तहत, और उसमें हम कहेंगे कि जो आप कहते हैं वही मेरे आका सही है और वही लिखा गया. जो उनकी साउंड बाइट थी वही लिखा गया उस कमीशन की रिपोर्ट में। अश्विनी हांडा जी, आज पूछ रही हूं, कितनों का खून दाग लगाकर घूम रही है कांग्रेस अपने दामन पे?
नाविका जी, मैंने आपको बड़ा शांतिपूर्ण सुना है और मैं चाहूंगा कि आप भी मुझे उसी प्रकार मौका दें अपनी बात रखने का। इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस नेवर सॉफ्ट ऑन टेरर। वो प्रमाण जो है वो पंजाब में है, जिस तरह से आतंकवाद पंजाब में खत्म किया कांग्रेस ने। और जो हाथ आप कह रहे हैं कि जगमोहन जी ने मिलाया था, मनमोहन सिंह जी ने यासिन मलिक के साथ, तो वैसा ही हाथ अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी ने भी वीजा देकर निभाया था। लेकिन मैं ये जानना चाहता हूं आज अशोक पंडित जी से कि इनकी पूरी डिबेट में कहीं भी मौजूदा सरकार को जिम्मेदार नहीं ठहराया है कश्मीरी पंडितों को 1990 जैसी स्थिति बनने पर, जब 350 कश्मीरी पंडितों ने रिजाइन कर दिया है, मास रिजाइन कर दिया है, और एक भी शब्द इनके मुंह से उस सरकार के लिए नहीं निकला है जो सरकार आज मौजूदा है। और उसी सरकार ने जब 1990 में इनको विस्थापन होने पर मजबूर किया था, उस समय भी इनकी सरकार थी, आज भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार है। और मैं एक चीज और पूछना चाहता हूं आपके माध्यम से कि आज देश को भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बताए कि आखिर सलाउद्दीन और मसूद अजहर पाकिस्तान में बैठकर हिंदुस्तान के अंदर हिंदुस्तान के लोगों को मार रहा है, उसका प्रत्यर्पण कब होगा, ये आज देश पूछना चाहता है। जो सरकारें अपना पीठ कब थपा रही हैं ये कहकर कि हमने यासीन मलिक को सजा दिला दी, तो ये काम जो है वो हमारी सेनाओं और पुलिस ने किया है। सरकार के पास कोई नीति नहीं है, सरकार के पास कोई रणनीति नहीं है। और मैं अशोक पंडित जी से ये पूछना चाहता हूं, मैं सुनिए,
ब्रेकिंग न्यूज कमिंग इन, terror attack some time back in Budgam, and a woman television artist has been killed, and this is after Yasin Malik's sentence was announced. So परिंदा फड़फड़ाने से मरने से पहले फड़फड़ा रहा है। Ashok Pandit, one more life lost because the puppeteers in Pakistan are shaking the strings to spread some sort of a fear in the valley. Respond also to the question raised by Ashwini Handa as we mourn one more death in the valley.
Navika, deaths are going to continue because there is lot of attacks being continued by the terrorists there, and there is a hard hand on them. There is no two opinions on that, and I don't know which artist we are talking about. It's very sad news. In fact, Budgam is already being on the target. We saw Rahul Bhatt being killed, who was an employee there working in Kashmir, who was recently killed. And if this artist is also killed after Yasin Malik being sentenced, then I think things have to be under control, because it's a matter of concern. Coming to Mr. Handa's statement, the Congress representative, well, he said that 350 people have resigned. I don't know who has told him this. I don't know from where he's got this news. As usual, the Congress,
पंडित जी, आप कभी कश्मीर, आप कभी माइग्रेंट में
चुप रहे, बात करने दे।
आप चिल्लाने से नहीं होगा। मुंबई में बैठकर ऐसी रूम में बैठ कर कश्मीरी पंडितों को वापस अंदर तो होंगे। आपने क्यों फिल्म नहीं बनाई कश्मीर के ऊपर? आप नलायक डायरेक्टर हो। आपने क्यों नहीं बनाई फिल्म? मैं अपनी अपनी फिल्म बना सकता हूँ, आपने क्यों नहीं बनाई? क्योंकि आप सबसे बड़े नलायक डायरेक्टर हो। आपकी यही पहचान, आप 30 साल मुंबई में रहकर कश्मीर फाइल्स जैसी फिल्म नहीं बना सके, यही आपकी पहचान है। अगर आपने एक दिन भी उन कश्मीरी पंडितों के साथ गुजारा होता तो समझ में आता कि कश्मीरी पंडितों का दर्द क्या है।
अश्विनी हांडा जी, मुझे लगता है कि आप अपनी खबरें चेक करवा लीजिए, क्योंकि 32 साल से जो पार्टी सो रही हो, जिसे कुछ इल्म ही ना हो क्या हो रहा है, उसे कम से कम इस तरह का झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए। अशोक पंडित,
अशोक पंडित जी से पूछे कितने ने दिया रिजाइन.
1 minute, lowering your fader, Ashwini Handa, Ashoke Pandit is speaking.
I am not going to listen to this. I'm not going to listen to this man's filth. I'm not going to tolerate this man's filth because this Congressee is talking out of his hats. And I don't need his certificate also. Because this man and his party has supported terrorism in Kashmir throughout these 32 years. And I can tell him on this face. I can tell him on this face. I was in Kashmir last 4-5 days. I've just returned yesterday. I was with my people and I've questioned the BJP government for firing tear gas shells on us. I have questioned the BJP government for firing tear gas shell and water cannon on us. I've questioned the BJP government for electrocuting our gates. I have done it. I've questioned the BJP government for not taking care of Kashmiri Pandit employees in Kashmir. I have questioned them and I don't need this man, this uncouth man to answer any
Absolutely, absolutely. Ashwini Handa जी, आप अपनी पार्टी के IT सेल को कह दीजिए कि जर्नलिस्ट को ट्रोल करने से अगर उन्हें फुर्सत मिले, अगर उन्हें थोड़ी सी भी फुर्सत मिले तो थोड़ा सा रिसर्च कर लें और पता कर लें कि क्या हो रहा है देश में. और अशोक पंडित सोशल मीडिया में सब जगह उन्होंने तस्वीरें डाली हैं, न्यूज चैनल्स ने रिपोर्ट किया है. अगर आपको इल्म नहीं है तो कोई, आई एम नॉट सरप्राइज्ड दैट द लास्ट 32 years this party, the Congress party, has never thought about giving justice, and here in RTI informations it kept saying Yasin Malik के खिलाफ कोई केस है ही नहीं. I want to get in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, one more, lost his life in the valley right after Yasin Malik's sentence. One more Indian life lost. The fact is, ये हिसाब कब तक चलेगा और ये हिसाब पूरा कब होगा? Because it's been 32 years too long.
Navika ji, first and foremost, I think all of us anticipated that Yasin Malik would get capital punishment. And I think the angst and anguish of people like Ashoke Pandit is absolutely on board. Having said that, the court decide based on the merits of the case. And I, without wanting to sound presumptuous about the earlier government, let truth be told. As you have pointed out, Navika, for over 30 years, even when the TADA was there, the TADA court failed to take any punitive action against Yasin Malik. Within just 5 years, NIA initiated proceedings against Yasin Malik 5 years back in 2017. And I think the good thing, if indeed it can be called redemption time, is the fact that finally a man who carried out the genocide of Kashmiris has been absolutely, shamelessly, remorseless about it, will finally spend all his remaining living years behind the bar.
संजू वर्मा जी, ये बताइए कि जिन्होंने पार्लियामेंट में अटैक किया.
I did not interrupt you, Mr. Handa. Please let me finish. One thing that needs to be said is,
संजू जी,
please, I did not interrupt you. Navika, this is not fair. I refuse to debate like this. I refuse to debate like this. I did not interrupt this uncouth man. I did not interrupt this rabble-rouser. Either he speaks or I speak. Navika, please ask him to finish his rabble-rousing. I will come in after that.
हांडा जी, जब वो अपनी बात पूरी कर लें तब बोलें ताकि दर्शकों को समझ में आए. जी, संजू जी.
Thank you. अभी ध्यान से सुनिए और बीच में मुझे टोकिए मत. Okay? Please have the audacity to digest the truth if you're peddling out trash on national television. First and foremost, it was not on 19th January 1990 that the Kashmiri genocide took place. We have ample evidence, be it Ashoke Pandit, be it other Pandits like him, they have said that the entire process of marginalizing Kashmiri Pandits started way back in 1984 when Rajiv Gandhi was still the prime. In 1986, you had the Anantnag riot. Between 1986 and 1990, before the horrific genocide, you had the Srinagar blast, you had the CTO blast, You have the horrific killing of DIG AM Watani, and who was in power at the center? It was an incompetent Congress government who hugged and gave that Jadoo ki Jhappi in 2006 in his personal chamber to Yasin Malik. It was none other than Manmohan Singh, that time the Prime Minister no less. And what did the Congress do? They were actually clapping in glee from the sideline, hailing Yasin Malik as the new age Gandhian. तो आज आप लोग यहाँ बैठकर बीजेपी को नैतिकता का भाषण तो बिल्कुल मत देना. Each time there is
नहीं संजू वर्मा जी आप ये जवाब तो दे दीजिए जो अशोक पंडित जी ने आपसे सवाल पूछा है कि टीयर गैस शेलिंग अगर इस सरकार के अंडर भी उनको सहनी पड़े तो उनकी लाइफ में फर्क क्या पड़ा? पहले भी मर रहे थे, अब लाठियां खा रहे हैं.
No, I think, Navika, as I always say, we need to have a sense of proportion. I started by saying that the anguish with community at what has happened to them and the fact that justice, albeit, whatever measure it has come in at, late in the day, having said that, I'm very confident that because it is the Modi government, you had an NIA taking the terror funding case to fruition.
Well, tear gas and terror funding and case are separate issues. Separate issues, Miss Sanju Verma. These are separate issues. Ashok Pandit is asking you a straight question. Please answer that question. And Ashok Pandit raising his hand.
I'm answering that. I'm answering that as straight.
No. Ashok Pandit first. Ashok Pandit first.
Sanju ji, with due respect to you, I was in Kashmir last week. I just come back yesterday. Now, I just want to let you know, I'm sure you're not aware of this, that there are 5,000 Kashmiri Pandit employees in Kashmir, settled in different areas of Kashmir, which is Yasu, Vesu, then there is Sheikhpura, then there is Indranagar, then there is Mutton and other places. Now, if you go and see the conditions in which these Kashmiri Pandits are living, you will be shocked. You will be shocked, Sanju ji. For us, there is no difference. We are living in jail. There are concentration camps. Our gates were electrified so that we don't go out, and if we try to go out, we'll be shocked. And the people who have ordered this, the people who have ordered tear gas firing on us, the people who have ordered water cannons on us, the people who have electrified the gates for us, the people who have given us third-rate places to live, for India, we are there for India. We believe in India, Sanjuji. With folded hands, I am requesting you please inform the higher-ups to set up a committee from the center and go and see under what conditions we are living. There are 15 people living in one room. There are 4 kitchens in one kitchen. There are 8 gas cylinders in one kitchen. We are living like cattle in Kashmir. We are in pathetic condition, Arjuji. I've got an opportunity, and that's why I'm trying to tell you. This is the ground reality of Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir.
So let me get in Sushant Sareen. Let me get in Sushant Sareen. Sushant Sareen, while some part of justice has been delivered with Yasin Malik, but how much is going to change for Kashmiri Pandits, and how long will they have to wait? Isn't that the most pertinent question to ask tonight?
It is, but I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And I'll tell you the reason why. The reason is partly, the kind of ambivalence which is shown by the Gukkar gang. Now, I was just seeing people tweet about this tragic incident which has happened today, or rather an outrageous incident in which this television artist has been killed, and along with her, I think her nephew has been injured, a 10-year-old kid. I think yesterday there was a very brave cop who was shot down.
And his 7-year-old daughter.
These animals did not even spare his daughter. Now, the question we have to ask the Gukkar gang is that it's all very well to condemn it. But when the perpetrators, people like Yasin Malik, are brought to justice and are punished, then these very same people come up and say that this is a miscarriage of justice, that you should not be doing this, that this will hamper reconciliation. Now, the moment you have this kind of a ambiguous kind of a stand, this kind of ambivalence towards terrorism, how do you ever expect to fight terrorism? So that is one problem. The second problem is that in the case of Jammu and Kashmir and in the case of the Kashmiri Pandits, unfortunately, there is, despite the fact that the security situation in Kashmir has improved tremendously. In fact, in some ways, although I think those comparisons are odious, Kashmir is far more secure today than it has ever been in the last 30 years. I can say that with a lot of conviction. It is far more peaceful, it is far more safe, it is far more normal today than it has been in the last 30 years, number one. Number two, the constitutional reforms that were brought about have actually worked wonders. Unfortunately, this government has lost, has kind of lost sight of the ball, at least insofar as fixing the politics in the valley is concerned. That is one big failure. And the second big failure is that the kind of radicalization which has taken place in Kashmir has still not been addressed meaningfully. And until and unless you do it, until and unless you ensure that there is reconciliation, I don't think you will be able to provide security to each and every Kashmiri Pandit who wants to go back to his home. And that is a problem, whether we like it or not. You can sugarcoat it as much as you want. You can rave and rant about it as much as you want. But that is a simple, ugly fact that you have to acknowledge, that as long as there exists a section of the Kashmiri population which is radicalized, which is taking to terrorism, which thinks that they are fighting for Islam by killing an innocent person, and that also in a guerrilla attack, not in any brave kind of an action or anything, not that there is any bravery in terrorism anyways, but anytime you have somebody who thinks that he is becoming some kind of a Robin Hood by wearing those stupid uniforms which these terrorists wear and prancing around with guns and think they become jihadists, as long as you have that tendency, they will always find soft targets to go after, whether it is Kashmiri Pandits or whether it is other civilians in Kashmir.
वकार भट्टी, सवाल ये है कि कौन है ये लोग, कौन है ये अब्दुल्लास, कौन है ये मुफ्तीज जो बार बार कहते हैं कि अगर आपने कुछ कर दिया यासीन मलिक को, या अगर आपने हुर्रियत वालों को कुछ कर दिया तो कश्मीर में जो पीस प्रोसेस है वो और पीछे चला जाएगा. आई वॉन्ट टू आस्क यू, पीस प्रोसेस है कहां? 32 सालों में तो दिखा नहीं. Where is the peace process? And therefore, the question here is, how long will anybody tolerate what's happening in Kashmir? The gunning down of innocents, the gunning down of cops. बच्चों को नहीं ये छोड़ते, और इन लोगों को कश्मीर के लोग सपोर्ट करेंगे. ये कहेंगे कि भारत की जो सरकार है हमारे साथ करती है. भारत के जब पैसे जा रहे होते कश्मीर में तब तो दिक्कत नहीं होती कभी.
जी मैं शुरू करता हूं अल्लाह के नाम से. औज़ुबिल्लाहि मिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम. या अल्लाह से मुसलमान की बात करना. अगर आपने किया फर्क की बात, अगर यासीन मलिक के अफ्ताह होते तो जम्मू कश्मीर की आवाम के चेहरों पर खुशी मुझे यकीन है कि जो आग लगी है वो अब्दुल्ला फैमिली वजह से, कांग्रेस की वजह से लगी. गन कल्चर आया तो उन लोगों की वजह से आया. तो आज यासीन मलिक के साथ हो रहा है उम्र क्या था तो भी उन्हीं की वजह से है. मेरे फारूक अब्दुल्ला से लोग, मुफ्ती जैसे लोग मुजरिम हैं. इस जम्मू कश्मीर के खून के, जम्मू कश्मीर के तमाम लोग जेलों में हैं, उनके हत्यारे भी हैं, और जो जेल बहनों आंसू है.
तो आज यासीन मलिक के साथ जो हुआ है क्या वो सही हुआ, हाँ या ना?
अब इसी तरह यासीन मलिक के ऊपर जो हुआ, जिस इंसान ने 4 साल गन जब उठा के रखी के बाद गन छोड़ी और बातचीत के लिए आया और आपके तमाम नेताओं से मिला, प्रधानमंत्रियों से मिला, आज उसको आपने ऊपर क्या सजा सुनाई कि आपने गन छोड़ के उसको गलत फैसला किया.
गन छोड़ी कब थी? गन छोड़ी कब थी? गन छोड़ी कब थी डॉक्टर आनंद रंगनाथन? क्या यासीन मलिक ने कभी गन छोड़ी थी? यही नैरेटिव चलाते चलाते कश्मीर का इन्होंने ये हाल कर दिया. क्या यासीन मलिक ने कभी गन छोड़ी थी? कभी ये कह सकता है कोई कि यासीन मलिक ने गन छोड़ी थी? क्योंकि कोर्ट ने भी जो कहा है, कोर्ट ने भी कह दिया है that it was a sham. He never really left terror alone. डॉक्टर आनंद रंगनाथन.
हथियार उठाया था,
Navika, can you please
lowering your fader, and we'll try and correct your audio quality. Dr. Anand Ranganathan.
Yes, Navika, 2 points here. Number one, you're absolutely right. Even though publicly he shunned violence, he was an exceedingly violent man who never paid for the cold-blooded crimes that he committed. Never paid. Now, I don't mind, terrorists being brought to the discussion table or whatever, as it happens with many, places or countries where strifes or terrorism have existed. The point is you have to pay for your crimes. You have to be punished for them. And after that, you can come to the table. This guy not only is not punished for his crimes, goes and merrily meets Hafiz Saeed. नंबर वन और नंबर टू, ये जो कांग्रेस के स्पोक्स पर्सन है, मैं इनसे कहना चाहूंगा कि ये जरा अपने कांग्रेसियों की भी बात सुन लें. Shashi Tharoor on record has said that yes, Congress rigged the 1987 state elections, rigged them. And the genesis of the crime and the gun that was picked up by Yasin Malik was because his candidate was going to win hands down. And the National Conference candidate arrested Yasin Malik and the opponent, and they were thrown in jail. That was the genesis of this guy becoming a terrorist. Congress is squarely responsible. And Farooq Abdullah. So ye jitna kam bole utna theek hai. Behral. Navika, just 10 seconds. As I always apply the Anderson razor. Handa sahab, मैंने आपको interrupt नहीं किया. मैं सिर्फ Handa sahab, please थोड़ा सा संयम रखिए. Please, I did not interrupt you. I just need 10 more seconds. Because what I'm going to say is very important. And please, you also must pay heed. Navika, yet again, I apply the Anderson razor. 10 seconds. I don't blame Yasin Malik. वो terrorist है. Terrorist का काम है ये करना. Terrorist का काम है मारना. Punishment ना लेना. बच के रहना. धूल झोंकना. उल्लू बनाना. पैसे एकना. ये terrorist का काम है. State का क्या काम है? क्या state का काम है कि उसको terrorist बने रहने देना? क्या state का काम है कि उसको punish मत करना? क्या स्टेट का काम है उसको जितने पैसे इतने वो पैसे देना? क्या स्टेट का काम है कि उसको हाफिज सईद में मिलने देना? प्रॉब्लम यासिन मलिक की नहीं है, यही मैं बार बार कह रहा हूं. प्रॉब्लम हमारी है नाविका, प्रॉब्लम हमारी है.
पीर वकार, स्ट्रेट क्वेश्चन टू यू टुडे. यासीन मलिक ने कब क्राइम छोड़ा था? उसे तो एक इकोसिस्टम ने बचा के रखा. And tonight, when the court actually says that it was a sham that he gave up his power, the fact is that there was a Congress party that did not register cases against him. There is so much evidence that he was given such a long rope. I want to ask you, today those who are saying that, terrorists will not come forward, they will not give up the gun culture because you are now putting them behind bars. I want to ask you, will he not pay for the killings of Kashmiri Pandits? Should he not pay for the killing which he himself has admitted on camera of 4 IAF officers? I want to ask you, he will have to pay for it.
See, Ms. Navika, I have been hearing everybody very patiently. Some of you made great points, but I want to ask you, Ms. Navika, are you a BJP spokesperson or are you a TV anchor? The way you are presenting the debate is you are taking it Congress versus BJP.
As far as I'm concerned, it's not.
And you are extremely biased when you approach a topic.
Who I am, what I am doing is there is no need for me to take a certificate from you. My viewers will judge what they want to hear and what I stand for, and they know me. And they know me, sir.
But you don't navigate it from a biased perspective.
Well,
now let me answer you.
Well, if you are talking about calling out terrorists, yes, I'm biased. I will call out terrorists. If you are saying that I will stand with Nirmal Khanna ji and demand not just life sentence but hanging for Yasin Malik, then yes, I'm biased. I will stand with her. If you are saying that I am biased and I stand with my country, yes, I'm biased. I will stand with my country. If you are saying I'm biased towards Kashmiri Hindus and Kashmiri Pandits, yes, I'm proud to be biased and I will stand with them. I will not stand with those people who shoot down Kashmiri Pandits, Kashmiri Hindus. I will not stand with them. Yes, Mr. Peer, yes, Mr. Peer, I am biased. Do you have a point to make?
PM Modi for going to Pakistan and having biryani with Nawaz Sharif. He goes to Pakistan, the arch enemy of India, and has biryani, and you don't have the audacity to question him. Your own PM. That is fine. But when Yasin Malik, it is convenient. Yasin Malik is a peacemaker. When it is not convenient, he is a terrorist. Why does he come to the show? For your courts to convict him.
Why does he come to the show? You're calling a terrorist a peacemaker? You're calling a terrorist a peacemaker? Have you lost your mind?
Terrorist is a peacemaker for you. Obviously, Mr. Peer Bakar, you're going to find me biased. You're going to find everybody biased because all the people sitting here, from Sanju Verma to Dr. Anand Ranganathan to Ashoke Pandit to Sushant Sareen, we call terrorists. We don't call them peacemakers. So, sir, we are happy. We are very happy and we are very proud to be biased, sir. We do not tolerate and we do not suffer terrorists. And terrorists are not merely those people who use guns. Terrorists are also people who are part of an ecosystem who actually brainwash and build a narrative against nationalistic, dividends in this country. And Sushant Sareen, terrorists being called peacemakers, can you stomach that?
Okay, so Navika, a couple of things. Number one, this guy Malik, Yasin Malik, never gave up the gun. The security forces had caught this guy, this rat, when he was running away from his hideout. They had given him the proper treatment that he should have been given. And that is when this man, to get off, said, I have now surrendered the gun, I will take to the peaceful thing. But he never really took to the peace path. Now, Anand was right that we have spoken to terrorists in the past in the northeast and other places, but that was when they not only gave the gun, they were ready for reconciliation, they were ready for a peace deal under the Indian constitution. Some of them went on to become chief minister. So we have done it in the past. Yasin Malik, however, remained a terrorist supporter. He remained a separatist. He never reconciled. But what did we do? What did we do, Navika? And I blame my government, successive governments. We rewarded him. We enriched him. We empowered him. That is what we did. It was only now that under this government, they finally woke up to the stupidity of trying to, feed these snakes with, give these snakes milk. That is when they have started cracking down. It was your own people, the people who were supposed to protect you, who were defending these people and enriching them.
क्या कर रहे थे 32 साल से? आप क्या कर रहे थे? कौन सा हिसाब मांग रहे थे इनसे? आप इनको बुला कर अपने घर पर कह रहे थे हम आपकी जितने कष्ट हैं उनके लिए कमीशन बैठाएंगे, हम आपकी जिंदगी बेहतर बनाएंगे, ये कहा जा रहा था यासीन मलिक को। आज मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ, कोई जमीर कहीं है या नहीं है?
देखिए, यही गवर्नमेंट अगर नॉर्थ ईस्ट में अकॉर्ड करती है नक्सलियों के साथ तो उसको गलत नहीं कहा जाता है। अगर वही गवर्नमेंट अगर अलगाववादी या आतंकवादियों के साथ बात करती है, समस्या को सुलझाने की कोशिश करती है, तो उसको गलत ठहराया जाता है।
आप चाहते हैं कि अब हाफिज सईद और यासीन मलिक जैसे लोगों के साथ बातचीत होने चाहिए? संजू वर्मा, हैव दे लॉस्ट इट?
नहीं, सुनिए, अभी मैं ये एक प्रश्न करना चाहता हूँ संजू वर्मा जी से। आज संजू वर्मा जी ये बता के इस चैनल पर देश को कि आखिर मसूद अजहर को जिसने पुलवामा किया, जिसने पठानकोट किया, जिसने उड़ी किया, जिसने हमारे पार्लियामेंट में हमला किया, उसको जाएगा।
संजू वर्मा,
I think we should send Mr. Handa after.
Ashwini Handa, you have zero credibility to ask any questions of Sanju Verma. Point number one.
Yes.
You have zero credibility to ask any questions of BJP. After the 1984 anti-Sikh genocide, it was the Modi government that set up the SIT. And thanks to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Sajjan Kumar is today cooling his heels in the jail. आपने तो सज्जन कुमार को उनकी आरती उतारी थी। आपने यासीन मलिक को जादू की भक्ति दी थी। आपने मनमोहन सिंह ने यहाँ बैठकर बीजेपी को सवाल पूछने कि आपकी हिमाकत कैसे हुई? I want to simply say one thing. Your Rahul Gandhi
कश्मीर से कब खत्म
Your
होगा?
Shashi
पिछले 5
Tharoor
सालों से गोली का
the
बदला
idea of
गोली बोल
India
रहे
and
हैं,
the Karachi
लेकिन
link पे.
भारत
Your
सरकार
Mani
के पास
Shankar
कोई
Iyer
नीति नहीं
goes
है।
to Pakistan and says, मोदी को हटाओ, आपके जितने नेता हैं,
सच्चाई ये है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास कश्मीर के ऊपर कोई नीति नहीं है, सिवाय
इंदिरा
गोली
गांधी
से गोली।
You guys have always been terror apologists. ये बात
संजू जी,
खोल के सुन लो।
संजू जी,
माजिद हैदरी, मेरा आपसे सीधा सवाल है आज कि आज आप यासीन मलिक को कह रहे हैं कि इससे पीस प्रोसेस पीछे जाएगा, तो कौन सी पीस आ गई थी कश्मीर में when there was the Congress government, when there was the National Conference government, where was the peace? Because you were giving all kinds of protection to the likes of Yasin Malik, the Hurriyat, and you were making them sit at the high table. Tonight I want to ask you, ये इकोसिस्टम बना के रखा था, हमें कोई हाथ लगाएगा तो बस कश्मीर इंडिया से अलग हो जाएगा, क्यों?
Navika Sahiba, firstly I want to make a candid confession. I agree with some of the points as mentioned by Sushant Sareen Bhai and Ashok ji. Ashok ji spoke the gospel truth about the plight of Kashmir. I want to add one thing on that. Sanju Verma Sahiba, your own JK President Ravinder Rana ji has said there are some bureaucrats in Raj Bhavan who are sabotaging Modi's vision of Naya Kashmir. Those bureaucrats are, I wonder why Honorable Prime Minister.
No, why don't you answer the question that I have raised, Majid Hyderi?
I am talking something constructive. I am asking Modi ji to make the bureaucrats accountable. Modi ji's image is at stake just because of some black sheep in the administration. Why is it happening? Why is my Prime Minister?
Who are you to ask Modi ji to make bureaucrats accountable when you didn't make killers? 1 minute. When you did not make killers of Kashmiri Pandits accountable, who are you to demand accountability today? Who are you to demand accountability today? Ashok Pandit, accountability for the genocide of the Kashmiri Hindus. वो तो इन्होंने कभी दिया नहीं, आज ये अकाउंटेबिलिटी मोदी सरकार से मांगेंगे, ये हैं कौन?
बिल्कुल, हम मुसलमान हैं, कैसे बात करें?
नविका जी, इससे बड़ी विडंबना क्या हो सकती है इस देश के लिए? इससे बड़ी विडंबना क्या हो सकती है कि एक जो टेररिस्ट है, जो रिस्पॉन्सिबल है हमारे मर्डर्स के, किलिंग्स के, हमारे जेनोसाइड के, इनकी हिम्मत होती है उसको पीस मेकर बुला रहे हैं। पीस मेकर जो हत्यारा है, जिसका पूरा शरीर खून से रंगा हुआ है, पीस मेकर है। इससे बड़ी विडंबना क्या हो सकती है? इससे बड़ी विडंबना क्या हो सकती है? इससे बड़ी ट्रैजेडी क्या हो सकती है? इन लोग के साथ तो बातें नहीं करनी चाहिए, इनको तो डिबेट पे बुलाना भी नहीं चाहिए, इनको तो किसी डिबेट पे लायक नहीं है, ये डिबेट करने के लायक ही नहीं है। जिस कांग्रेस, और नविका जी आपको पता है, जिसके यासिन मलिक और शब्बीर शाह,
Why can't BJP government order a simple probe into what happened with Kashmiri Pandits? One order from Home Ministry, one petition from Home Ministry.
Well, 1990 में who was stopping Farooq Abdullah from ordering an inquiry or setting up a commission? You want the commission to be set up in 2022? That is your hypocrisy. You call Yasin Malik a peacemaker. You call Yasin Malik that is your hypocrisy. You are seeking accountability from the Modi Sarkar before even thinking that there is requirement of accountability for the genocide of Kashmiri Hindus. That is your hypocrisy, Majid Hyderi. And Mr. Peer Vikar, I want to tell you tonight, yes, I'm biased. I am biased against terrorists. And I speak openly about it. I do not feel apologetic for speaking against those who not just are terrorists but support terrorists. Call them wronged people. People who need to be brought back into the fold of humanity. Yes, I speak against them. I don't carry a bleeding heart for them. But yes, I will stand in national interest with my country. I am biased against those who question this country and question what this country is doing, and they play the game of Pakistan. Yes, I'm biased against them. Peer Vikar, make no mistake. My bias is something I'm proud of, because my bias is towards India, not Pakistan, where you seem to be biased. That's all I have to say tonight. It's not the end, it's the beginning. Yasin Malik goes in for life, but many more cases against him. And there are those who are demanding that he be hanged to death for what he did in the Kashmiri genocide case. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on the debate tonight. We'll take a short break. On the other side, Padmaja Joshi coming up with the NewsHour agenda. Good night.